Hey doctor, this is Scotty over here, BMW Vocala. I'm here with my cameraman James over here. We're both the product geniuses. Now, I know you remember me over here, but I got a text from Bobby saying that you had some questions about the Driving Assistant Plus features. So right now we're cruising along Southwest College Road, which is right outside our dealership, so I can explain some of these features to you in the meantime. So we're going to start off with the top left-hand button, which is going to be the lane keep assist right over here, which this little guy, whenever we hit this, we get a little indication right over here on our dashboard, which will also be matched to the heads-up display, which I'm going to be showcasing that in just a little moment. Now what this does essentially, since everything is green right now, it's telling me that that little green steering wheel tells me it's detecting the car that's way in front of us over here, as well as it's also detecting the lanes of the road that I'm actually in. So I can actually let go of the steering wheel right now. I'm still controlling the throttle because I've not activated active cruise control yet, which are some of these other buttons which we're going to talk about. But we can see right now the car is just doing all the minor steering adjustments for me. It's taking care of everything, and at some point here very soon, as it does, just gave me that little red alert to tell me to grab the steering wheel again. That's what we see is going to happen. Now, you were mentioning some little lines that were appearing in the dashboard, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera from James over here so I can explain those to you. I'm assuming it's in that little white box, and now it's going to be a little hard to film this, but this little white box right over here is going to be the speed limit of the road that you're on. Now, if there's no speed limit detectable, such as a very high possibility of being in your neighborhood, I'm going to hand the camera back to him just to make sure we're in the safest environment here. You'll get 2 to 3 little dashes. Typically it'll be 2, sometimes it'll be 3 if it's a higher possibility of a higher speed limit area, but typically you see 2 or 3 little dashes in that area. If you see the vertical lines that we saw over there that were grayed out, that just means it's trying to detect the lane that we're in. And as we know, that feature is only available at speeds above 40 miles an hour, or actually 30 miles an hour for that one. And right now we're back again detecting this. Now, that's just the lane keep assist as well as the speed limit of the road that you're on. And it tells me right now that the speed limit of the road that I'm on is now 45 miles an hour, which if you bring your car into a main road, such as on in Orlando, like I can only think of International Drive, it'll tell you the speed limit of the road you're on. Even if there's construction, it'll adjust to the construction. But since you're in your neighborhood, typically there's not a lot of proper speed limit signs and not a lot of GPS information, so that's probably why we're not seeing anything. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about, and I'm going to go ahead and disable lane keep assist, which is that little, once again, the top left-hand button right over here. And now we're going to talk about active cruise control. And it just so happens, luckily, I actually have a slow driver right in front of me right over here, in a Mercury nonetheless, surprise, surprise. So what we're going to do to activate active cruise control is actually very simple. All I'm going to do is I say I want to set it for about 46 miles an hour, which is my current speed, so I just hit this top button right here. That's it. So now we're good to go. Simple as that. I can take my, my feet off the gas pedal and the brake, and the car's going to take care of, once again, as I do mention, there are limitations, but they're going to take most care of the majority of the braking and gas of the car. And then I can, of course, increase or decrease speed with this little dial right over here, this little plus and minus guy. So I'm actually going to set the speed for 50 miles an hour. Now the car is now doing 47 miles an hour because there's still a guy in front of me. And I just want to make sure you are aware of how all the functionality works. Now what set's going to be used for, if I decide I don't want it set for 50 miles an hour, I'm going to brake and I'm going to slow it down to about 40. It allows me to reset the speed as something else. That's the main function of set. Now this little guy in the bottom left-hand corner is actually very simple itself as well. It just changes the distance to the car in front of you. So right now I have it set as we can see these 4 little dashes right over here, 3 or 4 little dashes right over there. If I start hitting this, that gap closes. So that's telling me instead of being this kind of about 10 car distance or 8 car distance to the car in front of me, now it's only going to be about 2 to 3 car. It's essentially just shrinking the distance. If I keep hitting it, eventually it'll go back to the farthest distance again. It's not bad at all. And that's literally it for active cruise control. The only other button we have is the resume, or RES as some people like to call it, and cancel, which lo and behold is just canceling or resuming the active cruise control once again. That's it. And if we want to fully disable it, all we do is just hit this top little button here again, and now it's fully disabled. We're back to being in full control of the car. Now there is some other Driving Assistant Plus features which are located right over here. And once again, if it's green, it's good to go. Now depending on what mode you're in for, because as we mentioned during the delivery, this is a very customizable car. So right now in this vehicle, I have all my Driving Assistant features set as all on and at, of course, maximum safety. If I wanted to change something, I would come over here to configure individual. And I can set it to however I want, like if I want blind spot detection on medium with no steering intervention, we can still see it's green, because everything is still on. But if I were to actually turn off something entirely, such as blind spot detection as a whole, and I'm going to be taking it right here, we see this little guy turns orange. And that's something to keep in mind. If it's orange, that means something is turned off. And of course, in very rare situations, the car can turn off those features itself, such as areas of extremely high amounts of fog, rain, smoke, or if a bug hits it just right. And now that may sound like a lot of conditions that can cause it to fail. It's extremely rare. I mean, the bug would have to splat just perfectly, or it's going to be such thick fog or such thick rain that there is no reason you should be driving anymore. The car will keep going long before you should have stopped. Like, you should have, like, when it finally kicks off, it's getting pretty bad. And that's it. But if I want everything back on, to go back to the standard settings, such as all on in the safest mode, all I gotta do is just hit this back to all on, and lo and behold, it turns to green. And of course, if we see the light off, if I press and hold this little guy, it's all off. That's it. So if the light off, everything is off. Light green, you're good to go. Light is orange, something's turned off. So we can see it's just kind of like a 3-level system. And that's just the driving assistant plus features of the car. And of course, lane keep assist is nothing to do with lane departure warning. As I try to, this is a whole lot to take in. That's why we're doing the video, so you can watch it as many times as you want. Lane departure warning waits for you to get out of the lane before it steers you back in. Lane keep assist does as it says. It's made to keep you in the lane and not even let you leave it, as you can see here. And go ahead and point at the road, James. This is not a good road to test this, and you can see it was still doing pretty darn good. And it kind of figured after a while, hey, you know, I'm trying to trick the system a little bit, and it told me to take over with a quiet little beep right there. And that's it. Now, if you do have any more questions about anything about this car, as you always know, you do have my number on your cell phone. Give me a call, send me a text. I'm always happy to do these videos. They're always a lot of fun, and it gets us a chance to drive some great cars. But if you do have any more questions, give me a call, contact us through Bobby or Lou, or even the main dealership line. We'll be happy to get you all taken care of, Doctor. Other than that, we hope to hear from you soon, and take care.